Well, that was something else, so it was. Okay. Well, that was actually a clip from one of the adverts that the new party on Dina have been running. And, well, we've talked with those politicians, some of the reasons why they left being, that they didn't feel they were very comfortable with the people in charge and all those sort of things you have there. We haven't truly discussed how exactly they managed their massive victory of, well, it wasn't a majority, it was 190 seats for a practically new party. And how did you manage that? Because you had the advertising for them, weren't you? Weren't you? Well, I wouldn't exactly describe myself as that. I guess I'd say I was more sort of head of branding. So instead of me going sure, I'll go ahead and I'll spin something up for you. I'll spin that for you. I was more head of branding than general, like, so it was more broad than that. So some of the adverts, we had were, something like, some of them were very subtle, some of them were adverts for, non-existent businesses, and, they weren't exactly, they were basically saying increased prices, unfortunately, due to the government and all the sort of things. And that kind of stuff was basically the object of my plan. My plan was to make it so that the competition were to be kind of discounted. But the problem is in politics is that a lot of the time no one's going to believe you, and rightly so, because it's kind of full of lies, politics. Because the problem is the honest people, you can't know they're honest, because the not honest people will say they're honest. The not honest people will go, okay, I'll say I'm honest. That's the thing you have there, where the people who are not honest, the politicians who are honest, they'll be the ones behind the corridor, lying there to your face, and then they'll be lying to the other people. And that's the problem, I think, at the end of the day, that you can't never trust a politician, because the person who's lying will be good at lying, and the person who doesn't lie, well, they look the exact same thing, so they won't be lying. And the fact is, a lot of the time, the person who isn't lying will be the person who might not look as good, because the person who's lying will make themselves look good. But then the person who's lying might actually be better than that, because they just don't want to be seen in certain ways, because depending on their psychology, thinking, if people think, that'll be too good to be true, they're lying. If something looks good to be too good to be true, but it is actually, in essence, then someone who's lying might go, that'll tip them off to my other lying, Basically, it's a bit complicated, but at the end of the day, you do want to have a bit of a situation where you do diversify in your advertising. So yeah, it must be very tough. Dina's, they're not, they do have a couple of news outlets. Most of their news outlets are they're not exactly, they're not too bad when it comes to things. Well, basically, we ran adverts for different things, and people, I remember, in fact, I think it was an inaccuracy in one of your shows where you said, or maybe it wasn't, I knew that in the news organisation, people were saying that they were a new party and that Dina would allow anyone to form a new party. That's actually not true. In fact, Dina has a very interesting law where you're not able to form a party, or even, in fact, you're able to join the party, but you're not able to form a party, or in fact even take government as an independent candidate, if you're not from the country. But it's also hard to get full citizenship. So basically, what full citizenship means is that you get access to those things such as government. You can't get, if you don't have full citizenship, you can't get access. You can't form or join a council. You can't form a group, a pressure group. You cannot become a juror and all these sort of things. But the point was that the founder of our party was they were a son of one of Dina's members. So what that meant was that they could technically claim citizenship. Now it took a bit of risk, but we said, well, surely Dina is the place we'll go to if we do have to bail, and that was actually the original plan for if we failed to succeed in Northern Ireland, that we'd have to bail. So basically the point was there that we realised that now if you want to do this, you're gonna have to realise that we could understand that if we fail in this area, if we're pushed out, if we don't have these policies, and the point that was the reason why the former party there, rest his soul, he resigned because he said I'm not having this. But officially that was the thing. We were actually going to move to Dina and make the other party leader. Because you weren't able to form a party with someone else, and when it was shot, obviously that changed their plans slightly, and so we've been good. We're going to run ads for a while beforehand just to kind of prepare, for this. So Dana does have a lot stronger rules than people seem to realise. So political advertising, if it is false. If it is false, you can take a political party up in the courts, and you can actually, have them banned as a party. That doesn't stop the politicians from simply dispersing and reforming in a new party. It doesn't stop the politicians' right to. It doesn't ban politicians. What it does do is it bans the party, and it does ban actually advertisers like me. If advertisers such as TV or radio stations such as these kind of things, if they should do adverts, because those adverts are not like online advertisements where if you've got a blog online, they don't know what adverts are going on there. Unlike that, so they because they have control of the adverts, they're banned from having political adverts full stop for 5 years. And that's the way it goes. Basically, they want to protect against people taking another position because they realise their adverts are not exactly false, so they're just not honest. Like it's saying we promise to do this. That's not saying anything though. All you're saying there is we promise, but promises can be broken. Like that, that promise is broken. So by saying we promise and all these other things, you're able to escape that. But it's when you start basically making attack ads, unless those attack ads are either false or are able to be proven to be false, you can run them. But if they are proven to be false, then that's it. Like you really need to you need to sort of say, well, you're banned that party. And the point is that can it can stop a party in its tracks. Even if it can't stop a politician. So you're saying that your advertisements won the day. At the start of the show we had a little look at one of the advertisements. What would be the kind of object you'd be saying for the advertisements, would you say? Well, I basically at the end of the day, this is very boring, but basically the advertisement, what we'd say is we'd pick a politician and we'd say, okay, we've got this politician in this area. So we have to have this ad, and so we make an ad and we say, oh, this politician, beware of them, they're here for the agenda and everything like that. And I think I did get a little rap on the knuckles when one of the politicians, they turned on their phone, but they hadn't actually put in their information yet. So they hadn't been the website hadn't processed the fact that they wouldn't be, they would bid for the ad. Stick at this ad, and they're very annoyed by it. And they come to me and say, hold on a second, I did not sign up for this. I did not sign to be part of a party that it just attacks its competition. I said, look, here's the thing, right? When we were in Northern Ireland, we had the benefit of being the party that were in a diverse area that were saying, no, let's step away from all this, because let's step away from the object whereby it's always like, oh, we want this, let's fuck everything else. And she explained to me, well, like, we're away from that now. There's no more of this. This is a country which is pretty united, it's pretty safe, it's pretty everything else. It doesn't really have any extra problems, I would say. Like, it has problems, Dina has as many problems as your average country, but that's the point. It's not amazing country. It's not like it doesn't have homelessness. It's not like it doesn't have corruption. It's not like it doesn't have any of those problems. But the point is, those problems are problems that sorry, Those problems are problems that a lot of countries have, and that's not a problem that you know, like, that's not a problem that where other countries won't have that. So if that's the case, what's the problem there? You know, we have to do that. But he wasn't very happy, so he tried to resign, but they convinced him to stay in. But you know, he said he'd resign if I didn't stop bringing the attack ads. And said, well, how about I stop bringing the attack ads in your opponent? Said, fine then. Yeah, there's the thing. So, the ads won you the day of the day. Yeah, I think the ads won. Yeah, I think the ads won this today, yeah. So, what would you say now if I said, well, surely the ads are a bit on the, they're risking your party being banned? Well, no, I don't think so now, because we've gotten the power now, so people don't seem to understand the full scope of DNA's laws. Like, DNA's laws are interesting because, well, if there's something you need changing, they are, in some cases, you know, ideal for this kind of thing, you know. Well, I guess that's all we have for you today. Sorry, folks, for the boredom of the advertising thing, but it was an interesting thing I wanted to discuss. You know, and once again, sorry if people had any errors. If you know we made any errors when we were discussing the colleagues that we were meant by when we said that they were. Maybe a small error when we were talking about the politicians, so they get quite confusing and all that stuff. Anyway, so hopefully you'll come back next time. If not, you can do other episodes, and in fact, you can view other shows, and you can subscribe. And you know, join me next time, and I'll be looking at all sorts of things. If you don't want to join me, well, you know, bye then, and well, good day, forever, and ever, and ever. And ever. Well, you know, you get what I mean. Yeah.